what's happening here. Anna, Jenk, go.
Notion of a fascist. Because look, if we're just gonna use fascist toward anyone we dislike.
Fuck you. I know what she's gonna, oh my God. This is like, it's like a Reuben. It's, people don't call Trump a fascist because they don't like him. That's not why Trump is a fascist. That's not why Trump supporters are supporting fascism. That's not why, okay? Authoritarian tendencies, doing the same thing or similar things to people like Hitler and Mussolini when they promised their conservative allies that they would deal with the problems of the country with authoritarian powers under the guise of them being temporary. Dictator for a day, Enabling Act, Mussolini with the law that I can't remember the name of, claiming to speak for the people when you have never won the popular vote, okay? Calling the enemy and calling the media and the press and your critics the enemies of the people. Racism, xenophobia, saying that migrants are poisoning the blood of the nation. Threatening to bring back policies from like the 1700s that would allow you to detain people in centers, even if they're legal citizens, like migrants who are legal citizens or legal migrants, potentially deporting people in the millions, wanting to use the military against your enemies. The foreign policy fucking cluster shit of being somehow isolationist and hawkish at the same time. Oh, we're isolationist. NATO, maybe not a good idea. Also, let's kick the crap out of ISIS. Let's bomb Soleimani. But also, let's abandon the Kurds in Syria. Supporting fascists like Putin, like Orban. Oh. Vague appeals to the past that are left up to the imagination of your voters. Make America great again. Yeah, he's a fascist for a lot of reasons, bro. There's a lot of overlap there. Quite a bit. Economic protectionism. Tariffing the fuck out of everything. Like, oh, God. Yeah, there's a huge collection of qualities that go into making a fascist. They don't overlap entirely, okay? I don't think there's much evidence of Trump being like a raging anti-Semite, although a lot of his supporters are. But that doesn't take away from the broader collection of traits that he shares in common with fascists of old. People say, oh, he's not a fascist because he doesn't have an expansionist tendency. He doesn't want to take over the world like Hitler did. Well, Franco didn't have expansionist desires. Anyway, contempt for democracy, January 6th.
All right, then the word doesn't actually mean anything.
Okay, what do you want me to say, Anna? You want me to say wannabe dictator?
Sure, you can say wannabe dictator, but I don't even think he wants...
A wannabe dictator who is a raging xenophobe, who promises that their dictatorial powers will only be temporary, who is massively bigoted against particular minority groups, who falsely accuses entire migrant groups and minority groups of very frivolous crimes, i.e. Haitians eating cats and dogs. Tries to use political power against his enemies, withholding aid from California for the wildfires. Can I call him all those things? Well, that's a kind of a long sentence, though, isn't it? That's a long sentence, me describing Trump in those terms. Are there any catch-all terms that might describe someone like that? A highly racist, xenophobic, authoritarian who has contempt for democracy, who has contempt for free speech when it's people who are criticizing him, who has called the press the enemy of the people. I don't know. Are there any catch-all terms for people who do that? Who appeal to vague syncretic views of the past? A racist, anti-democratic, authoritarian xenophobe who wants to suspend constitutional procedures. I don't know. I feel there's a word on the tip of my tongue that describes those tendencies. Bruh.
To be a dictator.
Of course he does. That's what you do when you lose an election and you go, oh, I got fake electors and I'd like to terminate the Constitution and bring out the tanks and use martial law against American citizens and shoot protesters. I mean, if that's not fascist, then I guess the word just shouldn't exist.
But was he able to do those things?
That's not the question, you fucking dick. What? Sorry, was Hitler only a fascist when he succeeded? Oh. The beer hall putsch, that wasn't a thing. Hitler's not a fascist during the beer hall putsch because he failed. Mate. She's, Anna's not a dumb person. The Twitter mob they broke her.
Trump's
his rhetoric is awful.
Okay, if you don't want to be called fascist, stop saying fascist things. It's not that hard.
Okay.
Not that hard. Oh, here, let me have dinner with Nick Fuentes, who's a Nazi, Kanye, who's a Nazi, and let me say there's good people on the Nazi side. Oh, it could be pro-Confederate guys. Might be guys who are pro-slavery who are good guys. Let me do all of these things. Let me say that immigrants are poisoning the blood of our nation, a Nazi term that is only used in the past by Nazis, and then say I'm gonna ban Muslims, I'm gonna do this and this and this to all the other ethnic groups, and then go, oh, I can't believe you called me a fascist. No, he is a fascist. I'm very happy to call him a fascist.
All right. There.
All right.
He's tearing it.
All right, I'm ready to get back into it.
Yes. I feel you, Jenk. How does it feel to be the adult in the room? It's not like him. Feeling Jenk at the end there. Jenk is hard to listen to even if he has a W. You have no sense of humor. That was so easy to listen to. I'll listen to it again.
Trump can be both a racist and a fascist, just like Kamala can be Indian and black.
Guys, fascist means something.
What does it mean, Anna?
Okay,
Ooh.
in order for someone to carry out a fascist presidency, okay, the conditions in the country have to be very specific. Think about.
Wait, so if the conditions in your country aren't specific enough, you can't be a fascist? What if you are an aspiring fascist? What if you're just being as fascist as you can be with the hand that's dealt to you?
What led to the rise of Mussolini, okay? Following World War I, where you have a bunch of angry, aimless, poor people living in poverty, okay? You have the Great Depression. Like, I just need people to understand, like.
Again, the initial boost for fascists came from the middle class, not from the working class people tended to go communist.
You should be afraid of Trump, but I think the hyperbole is dangerous. It is encouraging people to carry out acts of violence. We need to be careful. That's all I'm saying.
Trump can be both a racist and a.
Bruh. Angry, aimless people. What? You mean, none of that in the United States, eh? What you need is a nation of garbage people. Oh, like, wait a minute. Biden with a little blowout on his way out of office.
Or Puerto Rico, where I'm in my home state of Delaware, they're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His demonization of seen as unconscionable, and it's un-American. Or Puerto Rico.
I know there are some people who are saying, and you know what, it's probably true. I don't think he actually planned ahead or like decided to call Trump supporters garbage. I think he was trying to say that because Biden, is losing his brain and he misspeaks and whatever. He was trying to say that his supporters' treatment, so the people in his supporters who are treating people this way and talking about people this way is what's garbage. But I don't care, bro. Sorry. He means like the garbage behavior from supporters who are shitting on whatever. Don't give a fuck. I'm not playing that game. I'm not going to do that. Well, come on. Listen, let's have a bit of charitability here. No, fuck it. They're deplorable. They're deplorable garbage, trash, cunts. They're either fascists or they are unwittingly okay with fascism. Bruh. And I know some Trump supporters, okay? Some of them nice people, okay? But they're also garbage. They're also like destroying a country. So, yeah. What's wrong with that? Some of them I assume are good people. But they're also garbage. Is that okay to say? Like, hey, listen, I love you, but you're garbage. You're shite. I don't like the word garbage. It's too American. Should have called them a basket of cunts. You're fired from Democracy HQ. You're defending Charlottesville right now. Wait, how? How am I defending Charlottesville? Oh, because I said some Trump supporters are good people. I think the problem with that comment on Charlottesville is that one of those sides was just a bunch of people chanting gas the K words and blood and soil and Jews will not replace us. But yeah, some people still think because of that stupid Snopes article. The fact is that if you're talking about a fascist, I hate this defense and everyone knows it's bad faith. Like they must. Which is why I'm confused about Kasparian saying that. But it's a complete fact that when it comes to fascists, they get into power when it's too late. Like the right time to stop them is before they get into power. By the time they're there and by the time that they no longer need to tone down their intentions or to say things like, oh, this and that will only be temporary. It's already done. Like the opportunity to get rid of them in any clean way is gone. I don't know. I think you should believe people like Trump when they say that they want to do things. TLDR on the Snopes article. There's a Snopes article about Charlottesville that basically says, no, Trump did not call neo-Nazis very fine people. What he did say was that, I'm not talking about neo-Nazis. I'm just saying on both sides there were very fine people at the Charlottesville protest. The problem is that one of those sides of the Charlottesville protest was entirely made up of neo-Nazis. Like, they were all chanting, Jews will not replace us, or gas the K words on both days, at nighttime and in the daytime. So it's kind of like saying, oh, like in like World War II, yeah, there were fine people on both sides. But no, I'm not talking about the Wehrmacht, you know, I'm not talking about those guys. I'm not talking about the Nazis. What the fuck? Very fine people on both sides of the Battle of Stalingrad. I'm not talking about the Nazis, though. I don't mean those guys. Some of them are just regular, good, honest German patriots. Like, fuck. No, they weren't. You're just lying now. Which one am I lying about, X? Can you help me identify the fine people? Are you talking about the... So Trump was referring to the nighttime, to the tiki torches. Can you help me identify the fine people on both sides here? So there were two protests, right? There was this nighttime one and then the one the day after, where Heather Heyer died.
Replace us! You will not replace us! You will not replace us! Jews will not replace us! Jews will not replace us! Jews will not replace us! Blood and soil! Blood and soil!
I'm trying to play a game of where's the fine people on this side.
And soil! Blood and soil!
Like the Where's Waldo of very fine people.
Blood and soil! Blood and soil! Whose streets? Our streets! 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 Whose streets? Our streets!
Not sure I can see it. What the... We play a game of identify the very fine people. What else do we have? The day after? The day Heather Heyer got killed? What kind of chance do we have here from the very fine people?
I love my people!
Oh, that says end Jewish control over America. That's a pretty big sign. Oh, there's a little black sun behind there. Confederacy. Oh, a little black sun. Ooh. Uh-oh.
One more. I want everybody to repeat after me. Pay close attention. Because this is the first precept of the true alt-right.
The first precept. Oh, they're about to say patriotism, freedom, identity,
Remember it.
loving your country.
Yes, the God's
Oh my God, not that one. Whoa, no, what that? No, wait, that's not an Americanism. What that? Those are just good American words, good, honest Americanisms. That's all about preserving American history, lest we forget the horrors of slavery. That's why we need to keep the General Lee statue. Oh no. Where's that X guy in chat? Where's that dipshit? Go on. What's the? You gonna help me identify the fine people on both sides? Was there like another? Was there a more quiet protest a few feet away that was just like, well, listen, we hate Nazis. We don't like slavery. We just want to preserve history. The General Lee Statue. Because if you get rid of statues, you forget history, you know? That's why no one in Germany remembers who Hitler was. Let's see. Iraq, Saddam Hussein, they're like, huh? Who's that guy? Huh?
One side and you had a group on the other, and they came at each other with
white supremacists on the same moral plane.
I'm not putting anybody on a moral plane. What I'm saying is this. You had a group on one side and you had a group on the other, and they came at each other with clubs, and it was vicious, and it was horrible, and it was a horrible thing to watch. But there is another side. There was a group on this side, you can call them the left, or you've just called them the left, that came violently attacking the other group. So you can say what you want, but that's the way it is.
on both sides, sir? You said there was hatred, there was violence on both sides.
Well, I do think there's blame. Yes, I think there's blame on both sides. You look at both sides. I think there's blame on both sides, and I have no doubt about it, and you don't have any doubt about it either. And if you reported it accurately, you would say.
Neo-Nazis started this. They showed up in Charlottesville to protest.
Excuse me, they didn't put themselves down as neo, and you had some very bad people in that group. But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides. You had people in that group, excuse me, I saw the same pictures as you.
So you saw the same pictures. What's he talking about? Which part of the Charlottesville rally on the right wing was he saying were the fine people? Is he talking about the tiki torches, or is he talking about the race war or the Zeke Hiles? Which one's he talking about?
You had people in that group that were there to protest the taking down of, to them, a very, very important statue and the renaming of a park from Robert E. Lee to another name. Well, no, George Washington was a slave owner. Was George Washington a slave owner? So will George Washington now lose his status? Are we going to take down, excuse me, are we going to take down statues to George Washington? How about Thomas Jefferson? What do you think of Thomas Jefferson? You like him? Okay, good. Are we going to take down the statue? Because he was a major slave owner. Now, we're going to take down his statue. So you know what? It's fine. You're changing history. You're changing culture. And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally.
Yeah, condemn the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists. Okay, so yeah, so obviously he's talking about a part of the Charlottesville rally that wasn't neo-Nazis and white supremacists. Which was he going to refer to?
You had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white.
You had people who were just standing next to the people who were saying Jews will not replace us, gas the K words, race war, Zeke Heil. They were just kind of walking with them and not being like, excuse me? I thought we were here for the Protect History protest. What? Zeke, what? I'm an American. What does that mean?
White nationalists, okay? And the press has treated them absolutely unfairly. Now, in the other group also, you had some fine people, but you also had troublemakers.
Antifa.
And you see them come with the black outfits and with the helmets and with the baseball bats. You had a lot of bad people in the other group too.
Treated unfairly, sir. I'm sorry, I just didn't understand what you were saying. You were saying the press has treated white nationalists unfairly?
No,
I just didn't understand what you were saying.
No. There were people in that rally.
The reason the press are confused about this is because everyone on the right wing of that rally was fucking either racist or okay with racism. They were okay with neo-Nazi chants being around them, or they were doing the neo-Nazi chants.
And I looked the night before. If you look,
that's why when he's talking about these nebulous fucking fine people on the Unite the Right side, they're just like, is he calling the white nationalists? Is he calling the blood and soil people like fine people? What's he talking about? Who?
They were people protesting very quietly the taking down of the statue of Robert E. Lee. I'm sure in that group there were some bad ones. The following day it looked like they had some rough, bad people.
Oh, the following one. So he's talking about the night before. He's talking about the Tiki Torch protest. He's talking about the blood and soil, Jews will not replace us protest. Oh, okay. That's where the fine people are. So anyone standing next to a Nazi is a Nazi now? Interesting. X, please. Like, you can't function in a democracy. Standing next to a Nazi versus going to a protest, realizing that the people you're protesting with are doing Nazi chants, and then staying with them. Do you think these are the same thing? Oh, I was on a fucking train the other day. Maybe the guy sitting next to me is a Nazi. I don't know. Maybe I should give that equal condemnation to someone who goes to a protest to defend a Confederate statue and then walks around and you're like, wait, why is everyone chanting Jews will not replace us? Blood and soil. What's going on there? It's fucking weird. These are the same people. These are the same acts. You fucking idiot. Unless you've just been like let out for the day and you've managed to find a laptop to come and talk to me for some reason, just admit that you're okay with fucking white nationalism and racism. Like, there's no other explanation. What the fuck?
Neo-Nazis, white nationalists, whatever you want to call them. But you had a lot of people in that group that were there to innocently protest and very legally protest because, you know, I don't know if you know, they had a permit. The other group didn't have a permit. So I only tell you this. There are two sides to a story. I thought what took place was a horrible moment for our country, a horrible moment. But there are two sides to the country. Does anybody have a final? Does anybody have? You have an infrastructure.
What makes you think you can get an infrastructure bill? You didn't get health care.
Well, you know, I'll tell you. We came very close with...
no, not an infrastructure bill. Oh, yeah. Because everyone who hates the bipartisan infrastructure bill from Biden, I remember Trump tried to pass an infrastructure bill. He couldn't do it because he's not a bit too divisive.
Healthcare. Unfortunately, John McCain decided to vote against it at the last minute. You'll have to ask John McCain why he did that. But we came very close to healthcare. We will end up getting healthcare, but we'll get the infrastructure. And actually, infrastructure is something that I think will have bipartisan support on. I actually think Democrats will.
I'm so happy they threw that one in. Huh. The deal maker, the art of the deal.
Go along with the infrastructure.
Hey there, thanks for...
Interesting. Well, that was wrong. Just throw in another Trump failure at the end to boot. Do you think the protesters ignoring anti-Semitic chants at the campus rallies are culpable as well? Yeah, of course. If you're at a protest rally and there are people chanting like explicit pro-Hamas chants, and you don't try to do some internal policing, then just leave. Because otherwise you're kind of, you know, adding to their numbers. You're adding weight to the event. Oh God, if Trump wins, it's gonna be another 4 years of this shit, isn't it? If he loses, homeboy denounced the racism. What more did you want? First of all, he took 4 days to denounce the racism. He took a lot of pressure to change his tune. That conference is from later on. It's kind of like me saying, and I know you don't care about this, X, because you're actually just like, you must just be okay with people who hang around with Nazis and fucking chant with them and march with them. But okay. In any case, it's like if there were a bunch of anti-Semitic pro-Hamas chants at college campuses and I was asked to comment on it. So let's say there's a college campus event and they're chanting pro-Hamas shit. Everyone's doing it, or everyone's okay with it. There's no internal dissent. And then there's a bit of a fight with some people waving Israeli flags. And I'm like, listen, I saw what happened. Okay, the Hamas people should be condemned, but there were also some very fine people among there. And there were also, let me tell you about the radical Israelis, the radical Zionists, the settlers, the radical right-wing Zionist attacks on these, on the people. Like, they were the ones who attacked. You see what I'm doing there, right? You understand what's happening. It's so obvious. And I know you understand what's happening. You just don't give a fuck. Anyway, whatever. Waste my time. Oh, and they did have a permit. It's like you're literally just doing it's not even a subtle contradiction. It's like, yeah, the neo-Nazis should be condemned, but also that side had some very fine people. Meanwhile, that side is doing a full-on neo-Nazi chant, and everyone's doing it with tiki torches. Multiple neo-Nazi chants. These are mutually exclusive statements, unless you think there are very fine people marching with Nazis and doing their chants with them. Fuck you.